Everything that you think you know about being an entrepreneur is wrong. Matter of fact, entrepreneurship as a whole is grossly overrated. Now, I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years, and I explained why being an entrepreneur is not exactly what you think. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, maybe this will help you realize whether it's for you or it's not for you. When I first got into business, I thought success was all about what I did, the craft that I was in. I was a barbershop owner, and I thought success in business of being a barbershop owner was doing the craft well and taking care of my customer. But then I realized the truth. The customer was not my main focus. I was completely unaware of this, but the customer is not the main focus of the business. Neither is what you're doing. In my case, cutting hair. That was not what was the most important part of the business. The most important part of the business was the employees. The people are by far the most important part of your business. Without the people, the business doesn't run. So when I started my business, I was hustling backwards. I was focusing all of my energy on my customers, and I did a good job at it. I had over 600 5-star reviews. I never had a single 1-star review. I didn't have a single under 5-star review for any of my services. The only time I got anything under 5-star was because of one of my employees, right? I had the customer aspect figured out, but what ended up happening is I was getting a lot of turnover. I was getting a lot of people coming and going because my focus was 100% on the customer, when the truth is I should have been focusing 100% of my energy on the employees. Because when you focus all of your energy on the employees and the systems that you create for the employees, it's a trickle down system. So if you teach the employees how to be excellent with customer service, the customers are going to be satisfied. If you spend the majority of your time keeping your employees happy and making sure that they're in a good mental state to work, then it's a trickle down effect because everybody wins. The customer wins, you win, and they win. Whereas my focus was so much on the customer because I figured, hey, these are the guys that are paying my bills. That ended up getting me into a lot of trouble when it comes to employee turnover and situations coming up with employees, because they could tell that, I didn't really care too much for them. That was hustling backwards for me, because it's all about the employees. And the reason why it's all about employees, because when you get into business, the true nature of business is to get leverage. You need leverage. Leverage means that there's something that negates your efforts, the amount of effort that you're putting in. So in a traditional business like a barbershop, the employees give me the freedom to be able to do what I need to do outside of the business and run the business itself. Instead of working in my business, I could work on my business. And if you're not equipped with leadership qualities, or handling people is something that you don't want to do, then maybe entrepreneurship is not for you. As a man, I've learned to take responsibility for everything that happens. So there was a lot of negative interactions with my employees. I had people steal from me. I had guys wanting to get physical and fight me and all that. But I take responsibility for my lack of knowledge and understanding, because they should have been my main focus. And because they weren't my main focus, you reap what you sow. So because I wasn't giving them the attention and care that they needed, in turn, I was getting the negative side effects of not focusing on my employees, which is the key to the business. So if dealing with people and managing people is not for you, then you probably might want to reconsider being an entrepreneur. The second lesson I learned is also an employee lesson, is your employees are not your friends. And this might seem simple, but it's an extremely thin line, because when you're the boss, no matter what you do, you're always going to be perceived as a bad guy. I bent over backwards and did things that a typical business owner would never do for employees. Because I was trying to please them, they would look at that as weakness and then try to take advantage of it, right? It's a very thin line that you walk, because at the same time, you want to give them respect. You want to make sure they're happy and whatnot. But you also have to realize that you are the boss, and your job is to make sure that they're doing their job correctly. You are providing them with employment, and you're not providing them with a friendship. They can have a friendship outside of work with other people, but it's not your job to be their friend. It's your job to make the business profitable so that they can make money and you can make money. I would walk that line, and sometimes I would cross over, and I made mistakes such as like hiring friends and whatnot. You really want to pay attention to making sure that your employees stay in the employee zone and not the friend zone. They're not your friends. They're not there to be your homeboy and kick it with you and all that. You could do formal work outings and whatnot, but don't ever get it twisted. Human nature means that everybody's going to act within their own best self-interest. And the minute they get a better opportunity or they feel like they could take advantage of your kindness, they will. You have to understand that employees are not your friends. The third hard lesson about entrepreneurship that I learned is that you'll probably end up working more than when you have a job, and in some cases making less money. So being an entrepreneur is a full-time job. There was many nights where I had to come home to my wife and complain about employees and those types of situations. I had to work weekends. I had to work holidays. I worked from home. Being an entrepreneur is almost like being a parent. Now, I never like to compare a business to being your baby, because a business isn't a baby. It is just your business, but it requires almost as much work as a baby because it's always following you around. You have to be putting out fires and doing a lot of work. On average, I worked about 60 hours, 60 plus hours when I ran my barbershop, and I like work. Personally, I don't mind working at all. I'm cool with it. I'm straight with it. But if you're not prepared to put in more hours and in some cases make less money than when you're an employee, then entrepreneurship might not be the thing for you. It is a complete grind, especially in the first couple of years when you're trying to get up off the ground. It is absolutely not made for the weak-hearted. There's a lot of ups and downs and stresses, and the stress comes home with you. You're thinking about it all the time. It is all encompassing. If you're not ready to give that much effort and energy towards what it is that you're doing, then you might want to consider something else. Now, there's something called a solopreneur, which is an option that's slightly different than an entrepreneur. So a solopreneur means that you work for yourself. You own a business, but it's a one-person business. You end up working a lot more, and you don't gain as much leverage as you would gain with a regular business, with a traditional business. Also, there's only so much you can scale without having employees. So you can be a solopreneur, you can go that route, but with being a solopreneur, you end up making less money because you can't scale without people, and you usually end up working more hours, but you do have a little bit more freedom from the conflicts and trials and tribulation that comes with working with people. So that's a great option for people that are introverts and they kind of want to do their own thing and want to control their own destiny. But solopreneurs does have its setbacks when it comes to income and time. So keep that in mind. Currently where I'm at, I decided to go the solopreneur route while using freelancers for things that I need to outsource so I don't have to deal with employees. I had a lot of rough experiences with employees, but like I said, that was self-imposed by my ignorance. I got to take full responsibility for that. But I'm also very introverted, so working by myself works out best for me. When you create a business, you have to make sure that that business aligns with your values and what you want. If you want freedom, maybe opening a restaurant isn't the right idea, because a restaurant will take up the majority of your time. And restaurants are very difficult businesses to run. But if you're passionate about food and you could wake up every day feeling good about what you're doing, then open a restaurant. If you're more interested in time freedom, which I am, then you want to focus more on digital businesses that allow you to free up time and work from anywhere and have that level of freedom. Even though you might sacrifice on the money end, you'll have the freedom. If you're thinking about going into entrepreneurship, this video is not to discourage you. This video is to just let you know that there is a lot of difficulties that come with it, and you want to decide whether or not you're going to deal with people, or whether you're going to do it by yourself, or whether or not you're going to do a business that aligns with what you want. Before you think about starting a business, make sure you write down and figure out exactly what it is that you want, and then build your business around that. Because many times people think they want to get into business, and they'll get into a business that doesn't align with what they truly want. And then they end up getting trapped by their business, which was kind of the situation I was in. I was trapped in my business because I wanted freedom, and I just went that route because that was all I knew at the time. And then I ended up not getting what I wanted because I was actually tied to my location. I had to go there. I was there 60 hours a week, and I didn't get the freedom that I desired. So now that I'm doing digital entrepreneurship, I've got the freedom that I want, and I'm a lot more happy in this situation that I'm currently in. So make sure that you make the right decision if you're going to jump into this entrepreneur journey. And I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully this provided some value. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.